is the Glass Cannon Network.
Sire, ye be welcome. Yea, lady or demoiselle, ye be welcome. Sire, God give you good day. Dame, good day give you our Lord. These are all the type of greetings that you would use if you were in 14th century England. And that's my way of welcoming you to 14th century England here in the Game Garage. Hello, this is the Game Garage where we play different tabletop role-playing games. Today we are playing our second session of GURPS. GURPS is the generic universal role-playing system where you can play absolutely any setting, any type of characters, and we have chosen to do a realistic recreation of what life was like for peasants in the 14th century. That is what we are doing with our time today. We are recreating life back in the medieval era. And to do that with me, I have my incredible group that we had last time, the publisher of Paizo Publishing, Mr. Erik Mona, an incredible member of the Glass Cannon, whom you've seen on all of their podcasts and shows, Mr. Matthew Capodicasa, and you might know him from my family barbecues and birthday parties and the Stream of Blood, Mr. Clinton Trucks.
Are those really my best credits, Jared?
He also producer of films and television shows.
Available for other barbecues.
And available, and Clint, you'll come to someone's barbecue if they ask.
Yeah, I need a reason to say no, not a reason to say yes.
So you heard it here, Naish. Invite Clint to your barbecue, and he will be there.
How are you with balloon animals, Clint? Can you
terrible,
do the
but I will
clown?
arrive with buns.
Okay.
Oh.
Clint always brings the buns.
Are you like one of those people who like tries to mathematically arrange it so you have the perfect amount of buns for the number of hot dogs?
A lot of times sitting on the floor next to the cold case, seeing how many are in a hot dog pack next to. Yes, it's a problem.
It's a conspiracy.
Yeah,
I feel you.
Well, it's time well spent because we never run out of buns at a Logan family barbecue, thanks to Big Buns, our little nickname.
If you run
for
out
Clinton
of buns,
Trucks.
it means you run out of hot dogs if I've done my job right.
Clinton Big Buns Trucks, we call him. He doesn't like the nickname, but we insist on using it.
I didn't want you to embroider it on my jacket like that, but
right.
That's where
we
we're
got
at.
you. Yeah, we got you that Letterman jacket with Big Buns in purple cursive on the back. And that was really the final straw. You hated that. So I hope everybody has been diligently doing historical research while we've had a little time between our sessions. I was just reading from, I just want to mention these books again. The Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval England, which if you ever want to know about this era, this is the perfect book to find out what people wore and what their houses were like and how they greeted each other. So that's a great one. Also, I've been reading In the Wake of the Plague. Oh, I wonder if that'll come up in today's session. In the Wake of the Plague, of course, is about the bubonic plague that stretched across England in the 14th century. And I've also been reading Summer of Blood by Dan Jones, which is about the Peasants' Rebellion that takes place in the 14th century. So a lot of really nasty, crazy upheaval occurred in the 14th century, and that's why it's an interesting time to be a peasant in medieval England. So you guys have been researching? You guys did the homework, right?
I found that if I were to do any research, it would be like cheating. Because I would know what was coming, so
Yes.
I opted to play the true game and know nothing.
This is the one role-playing game where you're like, you tell the players, please don't read any setting. Whereas in other role-playing games, you're like, guys, do you even know what Glorantha is all about?
I have a lot of books that I was gonna read, Jared. I had a big stack, a couple of those, A World Lit Only by Fire, all kinds of great books.
That's a great book.
Yeah. And then right before I did the research, I wanted to get more in touch with my character from the last session. So I just started eating a bunch of hallucinogenic mushrooms. And for some reason, I never got to any of those books. But I feel really connected to Bertram. So hopefully I get to play him for 3 or 4 more sessions as he goes into old age.
You never got around to the research, but you did play chess with a spider made of light.
Yes, right. I think it was God.
Yes, it may have been God. Well done. Of course, research is not absolutely necessary. Were you Clinton Trucks? I bet you were an A+ history student in school. Is that true?
I was a history student. Yes. Yeah.
Were you a history major in college?
I was. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that about you.
I was in college for a long time. I had a number of majors, but at the end, history.
Great. Yeah, history sounds like a really fun major until you like get into it and it's all about finding, what do you call them? Primary sources and noting your sources, and it becomes a little bit like library science.
Well, the only thing that doesn't lie are Shakira's hips and primary sources, Jared.
I don't know why Shakira's hips came into it at all.
She had a very famous song called "My Hips Don't Lie."
Come on, Jared.
Never mind.
Okay, I guess I don't.
That was a killer history student joke.
It was real funny.
It was a pretty decent Shakira joke as well.
It was a pretty decent joke.
The first of many jokes I will not get. As a professional stand-up comedian, I only export jokes. I never import them.
You're like, I fail to comprehend your humor, you say?
Yes. Is this the laughter humans speak of? All right. Well, we have at least one history major here. We have a guy on mushrooms. And Matthew, how were you at history in school? I bet you were pretty good.
I loved it, but then I went to theater school for college and didn't have to take any more.
Yeah.
So,
okay. Right on. Okay, so we're as prepped as we're going to be. So I'm going to go ahead and launch us into the game with a couple of caveats. I mentioned these last time. I'll mention them again. First of all, we are not historians. Clint was a major, but you can see the other two definitely do not give a shit about it. So shrug. I have done some research, but you see, I read a couple books. So we're gonna get some things wrong. We are sorry for the things that we get wrong. We are trying to get things right. But our main thrust here is not to get everything 100% accurate. It's to somewhat kind of create a dramatic situation that shows off some of the things that were happening to people at the time, not to get everything 100% accurate. Also, we acknowledge that history is full of racism, sexism, and all kinds of despicable intolerance. Though that will not be the focus of our game, we do acknowledge that it existed at the time and still exists today. In the 14th century, they had very little communication or education. What is our excuse in 2022? I leave that to you to answer. Good luck. But just safe to say that we understand that it exists, even though we will not be focusing on it. All right. Our story today is going to begin in October of 1338. We ended our last session in 1317. So 20 years have gone by for our characters. So I want to know what your character did with 20 years. And we're not going to role play each of those 20 years leading up here. This is kind of like an additional character creation session, where you can add on to your existing character, or perhaps your character will even have a family and create a new character. So what I'd like for you to do right now is to tell me what your character did with those 20 intervening years, in brief, if you can. And I'm going to start with Clinton Trucks. Clinton Trucks, it's important that we touch on your character, Leofric, because Leofric was the aged peasant. He was already 50 when the game started, so he may not even survive till October of 1338. Clinton Trucks, what did Leofric do with those 20 years?
Well, knowing that time on God's Earth is fleeting. Leofric is attempting to create some legacy, both for his brother's children, and God forbid, his own children. He would not only attempt to keep their current business efforts going, but he's looking for a wife. I think he would probably start by looking at some of the people he's brought into the business, like Tall Robert, or Short Robert, or Drustin, to see if they have any daughters who might need to be married off.
Okay, so it is interesting. Leofric wasn't married at age 50. It's sort of abnormal or unusual that he wasn't already married.
Weird.
Yes.
He's weird and into weird stuff.
Is that why you think he wasn't already married? He wasn't a widower or anything of that sort.
He was not. I'll go ahead and be a romantic and say that he came close a time or two, but he wanted to marry for love because there was no one he could marry for money.
Well, Leofric would have lived in a time when peasants generally arranged their marriages, so something very strange happened. Oh, well, you just said he wanted to marry for love, so maybe he broke off some engagements. But here in this intervening 20 years, he wants to start a family. I'm going to go ahead and rule that because of his interesting situation, being so elderly, 50 years old, elderly in 14th century standards.
It is worth mentioning, though they neither came up in session. Leofric has a couple disadvantages, which may make him a less than ideal partner for a young wife.
Let me know what those disadvantages are.
He is hard of hearing and has a bad back.
Yes. A bad back. Well, I don't think that those will necessarily...
And yet you were like tilling the fields out there with us.
Because this is GURPS, there are mechanical things at work here. So I was never asked to make a strength roll and never made a combat roll, so my bad back never came up.
Yeah, I love it.
I just know not to tweak it.
GURPS gives you all these rules for how to do regular manual labor, but then also assumes a little bit that you're going to be using it to like fight with swords and things like that. It's fine. Look, I think your bad back, your extended age, your elderly age, your hard of hearing, I think I'm gonna lump those all into a penalty to your roll to arrange a good match for yourself, and I'm gonna make it a -3 penalty, because I don't think that you're like hideous or anything.
No. No more than any other peasant.
And you've got some good businesses. So I could have gone -4, but I'm only going to go -3. And I think that in order to arrange a good marriage for yourself, just give me an IQ roll at -3.
All right. So my IQ is 12. I'm rolling against 9. So 50-50.
Yeah.
6. 7. Plus 4. 11.
Okay. So it's an 11. 11. You failed. Leofric.
You know what? I'll never have another chance to do it. Luck.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Leofric has the luck advantage, which allows him to several times per session re-roll. Let's see if you got lucky. You meet the right person somehow at a market day, a market fair, someone from a little farther afield, because Tall Robert and Short Robert and Drustin weren't able to introduce you to a daughter or a kinswoman who was a proper match. Let's see if you luckily bump into the right person one day at the market fair in Portsmouth.
All right. 9, 10, 11, 12. 8, 12, 3 failures.
3 failures. So your elderly status as a 50-year-old, and probably the years pass and you're like 56, you're like 61, and you are not able to find a proper match. Leofric, I think that you weren't able to find a woman. How sad. And so you never sire any progeny, and that means that we have to use the aging rules on you. We are going to see how old Leofric is able to get. Leofric, that would make you like almost 71 in the year 1338, I believe.
Yes.
Okay, but in order to speed this up, we went ahead and we did these rolls for Leofric, because otherwise we'd be sitting here and watching Clinton Trucks roll for 10 minutes. Could you explain the aging rules in GURPS to our audience, Clint?
They are not complicated, but it is a lot of rolls. At age 50, every year you roll your health for every stat: strength, dexterity, IQ, and health. If you make the roll, the stat stays the same. If you fail it, it goes down 1. If you roll a 17 or 18, it goes down 2. So having made these, so if one were to make all the rolls for 20 years, I'd have to roll 80 times.
Yes.
So
we've done that off camera. On the off chance that Leofric wasn't able to find a partner, which he has not been able to. So please tell us what the result was of all those aging rolls.
Leofric held on for some time, but eventually his strength failed him, and in the year 1331, he dies of natural causes.
No.
I'm so sorry, Leofric.
No.
Leofric, your brother, your friend, dies in the year 1331.
Well, he was impossibly old. He was 66.
How did he die?
Well, mechanically, his strength fell to 0.
That bad back.
Is that what they say on the certificate?
Yes. The priest that gives you your last rites or gives the eulogy is like, unfortunately, his bad back caused his strength to fall to 0, even though his IQ was still quite high. Very good.
Honestly, my IQ had taken quite a hit by 1331 as well.
Were you senile?
I don't think I'd fallen into full senility, but Leofric was quite a clever man to start, but not as sharp as he once was by the end.
Clinton Trucks, we had some extra characters waiting in the wings in case a character died. So pick one of those, and I think that you need to go from our pool of already available names. Either the character is Tall Robert, Short Robert, or Drustin.
I think I'm going to be Tall Robert.
Yes. Okay. So Tall Robert, one of the peasants that you hired to work your land in the last session. You will take over as that character now, and you have a sheet so you can continue to play. Wouldn't it be even funnier, though, if I just told Clinton Trucks that he was out of the game here at the very beginning? No, we can't do that. Yes, please play as Tall Robert. And now I will turn to Bertram, played by Erik Mona.
Yes.
Bertram, you have 20 years to spend. You have already stated that you have a son, and we put it on your sheet as a dependent. That son is a playable character. Will you be playing that son, Willem, in 1338?
Yeah, I think I will. In the spirit of the multi-generational, the turning of time, yes, I will be playing Willem. But in part because Willem's uncle is named William, it's a family name. He was known as Crumb as a little baby because he was just a wee little thing, and so yeah, I'm not sure how we'll transition into it, but I'm gonna play Crumb today.
Very good. Well, we'll transition into it by having you make sure you open up Crumb's character sheet, which we set up for you. Crumb is an adult. Crumb is let's say he was like 4 or 5 maybe in 1316, so now he's like 25. But I'm not going to say that our friend Bertram can do nothing in those intervening years. So is there anything that Bertram would like to have accomplished in a lifetime? I mean, really, we're talking about Bertram's entire life. 20 years is someone's lifetime almost. Yeah. So what would Bertram have liked to have accomplished?
Last time we saw Bertram, he was 28 years old, so this would bring him up to almost old age, like Clinton. I'm sorry, like Leofric. Jeez.
Yeah, he's 49. He's almost old. Yeah.
So Bertram, as you may recall from the last session, was spending more and more time by Pilger's Cave, the location where he came upon a circle of mushrooms and toadstools, had a bit of a feast after starving and getting lost in the cave, and then seeing the Virgin Mary herself manifest and then lead him to safety from the cave. So as the rest of the family was focusing on the nail business and the farm, I might add one of the most successful farmsteads, in the region.
You survived the Great Famine.
We did. And I want to point out, I think we did that only by the providence of God himself. And so Bertram falls
God being your game master. Go ahead.
Right. We'll just call him Jay. So Bertram falls a little bit even deeper into the religio-mania, spurred on by his friend Agnes the Anchoress at the local church. He begins to sort of live in Pillager's Cave and kind of becomes a local religious celebrity, I would say. And people start coming to the cave and listening to his sermons and things. And, he's got an IQ of 12, so those sermons are a little bit better than average. And that's enough, because it's very boring in the 14th century. People can't just stand and listen to the town crier all day. They want to engage. And why not engage with someone who has a personal connection to the Virgin Mary?
Very well done. I think that's a perfect lifetime for Bertram. Would you go ahead and make some rolls for me to see how it all goes for him? How about an IQ roll for his sort of sermonizing?
I love that. I have theology as a skill. Can I benefit
You can use
from
that instead.
at all?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You could use that instead.
And now is the part where I need to be reminded how to play GURPS.
No problem. And it's helpful for our audience as well to hear this again. In GURPS, you have a stat. It ranges anywhere from 3 to 18, and you roll 3d6 and you try to roll under your stat. Now, in a GURPS game where there were superpowers or, people with extraordinary capabilities, your stat might be 20. It might even be 25 if you were Superman. But in our normal human game, 18 is the highest the stat can go. So what is your stat for theology?
It is 14.
Okay, so you're just trying to roll 3d6 and roll under 14.
All right, let's do it. I got a 9.
A 9. People are really taken with your services there in front of the cave. People come to you for wisdom, Bertram. You have become the hermit with religious knowledge out in the woods, up on the mountain. Here is the other side of that. I believe that it's possible this would be perceived as a slight to the real church. You are not someone who has taken holy orders.
Right.
So, because we're just covering the intervening 20 years and we're not playing like moment to moment, I think that at some point, I'm gonna frame this brief encounter. At some point, the real church comes to you with armed men and from the local lord, and demands that you stop your sermonizing, that you stop your alternate, almost schismatic teachings. And do you resist, or do you continue to preach?
So here's what I do. This is one of those rare instances where Bertram's son, Willem, young Crumb, is present. So I'm doing like a sermon. There's a bunch of farmers and people just like on their knees crying and maybe even whipping themselves a little bit as they listen to Bertram's tales of his latest encounter. He just met Ezekiel. After eating some more mushrooms.
Wow.
And the crowd's really into it, but of course, the Reeves men or whatever, the Lord's men are not so pleased. And so, but Bertram, as they kind of cross over the hill that leads to Pillager's Cave, Bertram sees them and he knows what this is all about. He knows. I mean, Agnes, the anchoress, warned him that things were stirring up a little bit.
Right.
But instead of looking disappointed, Bertram kind of gets even more excited, and he looks at his son and he's all like this is my moment, and he's gonna lean into martyrdom as hard as he possibly can. He is on a mission from God. The only authority that he answers to is the Virgin herself, and if the Lord wants him to stop the Virgin's work, the Lord better have some mushrooms and get with the Virgin, because she's the one who tells Bertram what to do, and he will not be ordered around by earthly powers. And his son is like, what are you doing? And he's all just like, I got this.
Well, they have a warrant for your arrest. So are you going peaceably, or are you fighting them, or are you even commanding your flock to fight them? What are you doing?
I'm not going to command my
They come
flock.
and they announce that they have a warrant for your arrest.
No, my flock probably tries to, starts maybe reaching for a spade or like a pitchfork or something to protect him.
Well, let's find out
right.
if they do.
Okay.
They actually look uncertain. So you have to say something or do something in order to make that happen.
I don't want it to happen. I want to kind of tamper down their participation, because no one else needs to be martyred today, and no one else needs to step into the spotlight that is shown directly from Almighty God onto Bertram in his great moment.
Okay, well, these men are not going to murder you. They are now grabbing your arms to drag you off to the Lord's dungeon.
No, remember me! Remember me and my flock.
Okay,
Never forget the name of Bertram of the Cave.
Bertram of the Cave, you are taken off to the dungeon of the Lord. In this case, wait, I have this here. In this case, it's
Sir Harold Hayter.
Yeah,
Well,
Sir
that
Harold
was
Hayter.
your immediate lord, but John St. John is the Baron and Governor of Portchester Castle, and a religious schismatic preacher would have come even to his attentions, and that is why he has sent local militia to come and get you alongside the local priesthood, and you are dragged off to Portchester Castle's dungeon, where I would like you to make a health roll to see how you do inside of a dungeon. And we're going to do this quickly. I think because you're in a dungeon and they're barely feeding you, please make a health roll at -4.
Oh.
A health roll at -4. Is health HP?
It is HT.
HT. Oh, I see. Okay. -4. This is going to be a bit of a challenge, so I'd like to ask for some help for the Virgin. Okay. I got a 13.
That seems like it might be a failure. What were you trying to roll under?
I was trying to roll under a 10.
Well, you got close. But so you got the martyrdom that you asked for,
Yes.
Bertram. You die of starvation in John St. John's dungeon, but your earlier role to sermonize was so successful that many remember you and still bandy about your teachings. They still carry your teachings with them, and people make pilgrimages to the cave to eat the magical mushrooms that gave you your visions. And now I will turn to our third player, Wilkie. Wilkie, you have 20 years. The saga of Wilkie. What saga do you write in those 20 years?
Well, as you all remember from last session, Wilkie was engaged in a torrid affair with the miller's wife, Matilda. And things got complicated when the miller was not as well prepared as we were for the famine. And we ended up buying the mill and then employing the miller and his wife. So things got a little, thorny.
Yeah.
But Wilkie still, I think for Wilkie it was true love, right? Like, circumstances be damned. So I imagine he, emboldened perhaps by his older brother Leofric's example, held out for love. And in my mind, and you tell me if I'm overstepping, but I think he was waiting for the miller Godwin to die, and then he could swoop in and happily ever after. But I think Godwin lived a very long time. And
Well,
I
let's
think
find out. Should we find out?
Yes, let's find out if Godwin.
I know what Godwin's health is, and rather than do a bunch of rolls, let's just do one roll to see if Godwin survives the entire 20 years or not. Is that okay with you, Matthew?
Yes, and then I in my mind, I think the worst thing that could happen for Wilkie is if Matilda predeceases Godwin. So maybe we do both.
Oh, then we should roll for Matilda as well. So just to make sure everybody knows the stakes here, we're rolling to see if the husband of the woman that Matthew's character Wilkie loves dies in the intervening 20 years. Here we go. All right, I rolled a 3.
Whoa.
I rolled a 3, and I rolled a 5. That is over the health of Godwin, who only had a health of 10. And so that means that Godwin does die. Let's see how many years he gets before. He dies.
Could it be true? Could it be True Love's day?
He actually only lives 8 years after the events of session number 1. So in about the year, 1324, let's see how it's Matilda, right?
Matilda,
Yeah, let's see how Matilda does. Matilda, I know what her health is. Here we go, Matilda. Do you survive? Matilda rolls a 10. Matilda survives. Matilda also had a health of 10. So Matilda lives. And I don't have to roll to see how many years because she just lives. So, wow, that worked out really well for you.
That worked out well. I had this whole tragic story envisioned where they're like he would have like one last tryst with Matilda, and maybe that would produce an illegitimate child. But no, they just get together.
Let's see if you're able to arrange the marriage adequately and get everything kind of squared away, because she is a widow. She probably has some various prospects that she could go with. She does love you, so that's going to give you an IQ roll, but I'm going to allow you to roll it at +2.
Okay.
And if you are able to do that, that means that you guys establish a marriage and are happily wed.
All right. That's good that you gave me the bonus because Wilkie's IQ is not particularly high.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I was rolling for an 11.
Yeah.
And I rolled a 12.
Oh no. Something terrible has happened, Wilkie. I think that for whatever reason, Matilda has turned against you. I don't know what exactly happened, but perhaps the rumors of your philandering with her hurt her social standing, and so that she could not marry you and keep her reputation as a woman of God, and so she has chosen to marry someone else again.
Oh no.
Maybe she considered Godwin's death a sign that she had to turn away from her blasphemous, sinful ways.
She has married a man named Larkin.
Larkin?
Larkin.
My college roommate was named Larkin. Hi, Larkin.
Imagine this character to be exactly like your college roommate, but medieval.
But a medieval peasant.
Yes, but a medieval peasant. Let's see. Godwin was a miller. Larkin does something else. Larkin is he's a hunter.
Oh. So a strapping fellow, eh?
Oh, yes. A strapping fellow, well able to provide.
She's always like younger men.
But spends long hours out in the forest. So, Wilkie, am I to understand that perhaps you have not been able to... Would you move on from Matilda, or would you pursue someone else? What would you do?
I think in the intervening 20 years, Wilkie would hold the torch. He would continue to pine for Matilda.
Wow. That is so sad.
It's almost the end of our line.
I know, but do you think it's possible maybe they get together at some point for just one night, and maybe there is...
Roll a skill or an attribute, but now the chances are a lot slimmer as the years go by. Let's see.
If you think we're going to let your bastard child into our businesses.
11 years go by, and in the year 1327, 3 years after the passing of Godwin, you guys have a final meeting, and let's see how it goes. I think that if you have no other ideas, I think it's an IQ roll, but this time at negative 2 or 3, because she's already married to Larkin now.
Wilkie would like to prepare a meal for Matilda and roll cooking.
Okay, that's a great idea. I'll allow that. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Try to woo her.
What is your cooking score?
9.
Okay, let's see how you do.
You want to take that penalty?
For cooking, I'm not going to make you take a penalty.
Okay. I rolled an 8.
All right. Okay. You are now involved in an extramarital affair with Matilda again.
How old are they both at this point?
So it's 13. What do you say? 1331.
Right now we're in 1327 when this happens.
So I am 30.
30 years old.
And I think Matilda's a little older.
1327, you're 30. That means you will not reach old age by 1338, so we won't have to do any old age rolls for you. But it does mean that you've rekindled the old flame with Matilda, and you guys are getting older, and you are continuing to philander behind a husband's back. I mean, the more things change,
Yeah.
the more they stay the same. And
It's like God wills it for us to be together.
What year did Bertram get started?
Yeah, we never established when Bertram was martyred.
let's find out. Bertram dies in the year 8 plus 4, 12 years after the events of episode 1. So if that ends in 1317, he dies in 1329.
Okay.
Very good. Anything else that Wilkie tries to accomplish, or is it his life's work is really Matilda, really?
Well, I mean, I think Wilkie. I mean, after Leofric dies and Bertram gets martyred, he's the eldest. He's the eldest member of the family running the business.
Oh no.
So
Leofric doesn't die till 1331.
Okay.
So,
but at that moment,
yeah.
Wilkie seizes the reins.
I think in 1331 we have to play this. So in 1331, Wilkie is the eldest surviving member of this family and the business, as Matthew has just pointed out. So our most frivolous brother is running the nail business, running the sheep business. This could get bad. The mill, the whole thing. It's a lot of responsibility.
I have some ideas about vertical integration that I think you've all not considered in your lifetimes.
Yes, let's see how these ideas about vertical integration go. Merchant defaults to IQ -4, right?
Oh boy.
Okay.
You're squandering our fortune.
All right, here we go. Okay, unsurprisingly, I have failed that roll.
Okay, very good. So I want you to know that I want you to roll it a couple more times. Okay, that was for the nail business. Now I want you to run once for the sheep herding in the mill.
Okay, that was worse. That was a 13. I'm trying to roll for a 5.
Okay, now we're rolling for the mill.
Okay, that was an 11. Again, rolling for a 5.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to make this roll.
I'm trying.
What about the
what's
farm?
left is the farm. Yeah, the farm
The
itself.
farm, yeah.
That's a 12.
I think we know why Matilda went with the hunter.
I had great prospects.
So I'm not going to say that these business. Here's what I'm going to say: the nail business is all but washed up. So is the sheep herding and the mill. You've had to sell off the mill, and you are back, thanks to the efforts of Wilkie, back to being just farmers on the land of Sir Harold Hayter.
Fear
Or
not,
fucking Crumb.
Crumb. Fear not, tall Robert. I shall lead you into great profits in the coming season.
I thought that was an excellent coverage of our 20 years, and I'm sorry that you're back to square one business-wise, but those are the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune that come when Wilkie is in charge of anything. So when we find our characters, so make sure that Clint and Erik, make sure you have the character you're playing now, not the character you played last session. And when we find these characters in October of 1338, what are they doing? And let's start with Tall Robert. Tall Robert.
So I have a sheet that is now Tall Robert. I do need to know how old he is. So I figured
Let's
he was probably
make
a
him.
teenager.
Let's start with these characters at 18, just to make sure no matter what happens to them, no one watching is like, Jesus Christ. And let's add, do you mind doing 18 plus 3d6?
Let's see what happens.
So a minimum of 21, really.
So 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 25?
Okay, so Tall Robert is 25 years old, which means, well, that doesn't make any sense because that means that he would have been 5 years old.
Oh, no, that doesn't make any
very
sense.
tall.
Yeah,
Robert.
that doesn't make any sense. Let's see. Oh my God, this is so fun. We're just establishing characters' ages as part of our role-playing session.
Well, if we say
today.
he was 25 when we started, and 20 years
That's
passed,
it.
he's
So now
45.
he's 45. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Tall Robert is now 45. He's getting up there. He's getting up there in age.
Guy never had a chance.
Yeah. So what would Tall Robert do in this October of 1338? First of all, he's got to take in the harvest. So could I have him do help with that?
Sure. Tall Robert has a farming of 10.
Let's see how he does.
6, 7, 8, 9. 9 and 10. There we go.
Okay, so Tall Robert's portion of the labors goes swimmingly, and he is able to help them, with the yield, and many great and harvestable grains are gained. So far, Tall Robert is helping with the farm in a good way, and there's been no problem. What would he like to do in October of 1338, in the fall of 1338, in addition to bringing in the harvest?
So, Tall Robert was an employee. However, now that he is probably doing the bulk of the manual labor around here,
Or he's doing a lot of it.
a lot of it, I think he wants to have a little sit down with Wilkie to see if he can take over a plot of land. A plot of the 30 acres that Wilkie has inherited.
I love that idea. Why don't we go ahead and say that you meet in the little one-bay house, which you still have because the other businesses were destroyed. Let's have... And by the way, Tall Robert, you probably don't even stay in that house. You probably have to live somewhere else in an even smaller cottage. Let's have you make your case to take over some of that land.
So, Tall Robert's case is a short one, but looking at Tall Robert's sheet, it looks like he was probably mostly the sheep herd when there was a sheep herd.
Right.
Tall Robert also has a disadvantage called callous. Yeah, he appears to be an unpleasant and mean man, and is quite tall for the time. He's 5'11".
Giant.
So, Tall Robert stands quietly and says, I brought in your crop. I've buried the sheep that you let starve in the field. And I think I'm owed.
What would you say you're owed?
The North Field.
The North Field. Well, you see, the North Field was my brother's field, and I have a sentimental attachment to it.
Tall Robert doesn't say anything. He just closes the door behind him, leaving you alone in the room with him, and walks over and sits down and says, if I don't work the field, you'll be hard-pressed to find anyone who will.
I suppose you're right, seeing as we've slashed wages over the past 5 years. Tell you what, why don't we play for it? Why don't we play a game of chance for it? If you
We can
win,
see Wilkie's management style and why it
now-
has...
you
It's all
win.
coming together.
You get the North Field, though you owe us a portion of the profits. If I win, you get us some sheep. Sheep herd.
Tall Robert is going to say nothing, and he's just going to make an intimidation roll.
all right, is that okay with you, Matthew, if a character
Sure.
tries to intimidate your character?
Yeah, what is it?
I'm going to allow you to resist it, though. So let's have Tall Robert roll intimidation. Is that a skill that you have, Tall Robert?
It is, yes.
And then let's have Wilkie resist it using will. There should be a will
Yeah.
score on your sheet.
Imagine if this is the roll I get.
I rolled 7 on 10.
Ooh.
I rolled a 10 on 9, so I do not resist.
Oh,
I
okay.
cannot resist.
So your employees are even able to intimidate you, Wilkie.
All right. The Northfield, you say? Okay. But you still can pay me rent, right? I own the land, or I rent the land to own, and you rent it from me. You sublet. How does that sound? Deal? Great. And Wilkie runs out of the room.
And Tall Robert does work the land, and he pays a fair portion to the remaining brother. But he is an unpleasant and dickish man.
I love this.
Intimidating.
Yeah, that's another sign of Wilkie's great leadership, that he lets his underlings sort of tell him what to do. Let us now turn to Bertram. Oh, no longer Bertram. Bertram died in a dungeon years ago.
Yes.
Let us turn to Willem, a.k.a. Crumb, son of Bertram. I would first like to see how Crumb's involvement in the harvest goes, if that's okay.
Of course.
Could Crumb please roll his farming?
Yes. All right, he's got a 10 in farming, so he's only okay at this. And I got a 10.
Very good. So, Willem, you are a good and happy worker, and you bring in plenty of good harvestable grain, and your portion of the labor has gone smoothly. What else would Willem like to do with his autumn of 1338?
Well, Willem is struggling a little bit because I'm looking at his character sheet and his highest score is in merchant. So I'm guessing that his uncles, particularly since his father wasn't really around since he spent so much time at the cave, his uncles probably tried to help him get involved with the nail business.
Maybe they were grooming him. Yeah, they were grooming him to be the guy to run these businesses.
And the nail business has failed.
Yeah.
And now I'm back to being a farmer. And he's a little surly. He's mad that his favorite uncle, Leofric, is dead. His father, dead. And the only person who's controlled his fate these last 9 years is good old Wilkie.
Uncle
Disconnected,
Wilkie.
Bad decision maker, defers to others, lets the help run him. And Willem is struggling a little bit with the old family loyalty, with the old spot. Now, Tall Robert is asking for a plot of family land. This whole thing is out of control. So what Willem spends most of his time doing is complaining behind closed doors to his wife, Marjorie, who he married at age 14, only a year before his father was martyred. And he has 3 mouths to feed his children, Gwyn, Theodric, and Beatrix, named after his long-departed mother. And he's just surly. Marjorie, you won't believe what happened again. Tall Robert now wants a plot of land. It was me uncle's land. And old Wilkie's, oh sure, Tall Robert, whatever you want. I'll tell you the business has gone to piss. The farm's gone to piss. It's all gone to piss, Marjorie.
Some of this complaining undoubtedly gets back to Wilkie, right? I mean, you're not being that circumspect about it, are you?
No, I was never taught manners by anyone. Just left to fend for myself.
So Wilkie, one of the main people that you depend on to help you bring in your portion of these lands is complaining about you and your leadership very vocally to anybody who will listen. How does Wilkie react to that?
Wilkie is going to change his plans. As you know, he's been pining for Matilda all these years and carrying on the affair, which he's recently rekindled. But he is now going to seek a young wife so that he may sire a child that he may pass the land on to, and cut these ungrateful nephews and great nephews and nieces of his out.
Very, very good. Is he careful about that? Does he let Willem know that that's happening?
Oh no, I think he tries to play nice with Willem, and he's just like, well, I'm getting older. One wants for company in the dark night. is that so wrong? God, after all these years, God has seen fit to call me to holy matrimony.
Very good. Well, let's see how he does.
Still love you, Crumb. Love you since the day you were born.
I love you too, Uncle.
Hey, could you do me a favor and talk to Tall Robert? He seems upset about something.
I'll be happy to talk to Tall Robert, Uncle.
So yeah, I'm gonna go talk to Tall Robert.
Okay. Let's deal with that in just a second. I want to see how, in the autumn of 1338, how Wilkie's search for love goes. Wilkie, I would say, based on your circumstances, I would like you to roll IQ at -1 to find a mate.
Am I still fit and attractive?
You are. That makes me change it, actually. Roll IQ at +2.
Okay. Still not great, but... Oh, you know what? I got it. 7 under 11.
You find a young woman named Agnes.
Oh.
Agnes the Anchoress?
Named after the Anchoress.
I'm sorry. The Anchoress are... Well, there's more than one Agnes.
Yeah, there's 7 in town.
There would be a lot. There really actually would be more than one woman named
the
Agnes.
Time girl.
So Agnes the Anchoress. Sorry, I reused a name, but we're gonna go with it. We're gonna say that it's true. So this is we're gonna call her
Agnes 2.
we could, but let's call her Agnes of Chichester, because you go farther afield into Chichester, a nearby community, and Agnes of Chichester is, boy, is that a mouthful, but that's her name, is going to be your love match. And how are you wooing her away from her family?
I tell them grand tales of our glory days. I leave out some key information that maybe some of the businesses have gone under and had to be sold. Instead, I brag about the time that we with nothing but our own gumption, got through the famine of 1316, was it?
Yes, it was. Public speaking role, please,
Okay.
Mr. Wilkie. I'm sorry to interrupt you. You can go ahead and elaborate more if you'd like.
Okay, I rolled a 9, and my public speaking is a 9.
You have this family completely in the palm of your hand. They think you are a fantastic businessman.
And then when the floods came, my brother, he dug a trench, saved us all, brought some sheep. What can you say? He was a genius, my brother.
Yes, you have this family in the palm of your hand, and they are more than happy to give you the hand of their beautiful daughter, Agnes. So we will leave you there with a wedding to plan, and I would like to see the meeting between Willem and Tall Robert.
All right, I'll go up to his hovel and I'll just knock on the door.
Tall Robert!
Tall Robert answers. He actually moved into Leofric's house. But in the intervening time, it's turned into something of a hovel because clearly Tall Robert is not a domestic man. He goes and takes off the rope latch and opens the door.
I kind of look behind you. Oh, sorry, what did you say?
I said, boy.
Tall Robert, you've redecorated, it seems.
Short Robert died 3 years ago. When can I just be Robert?
Hey, that wasn't established, but okay, it's canon now. Go ahead.
We'll all miss Short Robert, but might I step inside to have a bit of a conversation with you?
He'll go and pull out a rough stool for you.
Oh, thank you, this is quite comfortable. Uncle asked me to have a word with you. It's about the family farm. Apparently, he's concerned that you might be unhappy.
I don't know
You
where I get that
unhappy, Tall
impression.
Robert?
I want more than I've got. I don't think that makes me unhappy.
Well, I can't
It's cold
blame
in
you.
here, and you see him. He goes and pulls out a book and rips out a page and throws it in the fire.
Doesn't even
Leofric left a few books around because he could read.
Yeah. He was a fancy lad, our Uncle Leofric. We all miss him. What do you think of Uncle Wilkie's leadership here at the farm?
Well,
Hunting off a child bride in Chichester, from what I understand.
his leadership does me fine as long as it stays distant, which he's been to this point. But sounds like you might have other plans.
No other plans. I'm a man of God. I obey my beloved uncle in all things. But just wanted to see where your loyalties lie when it comes to the family.
Well, I had some fondness for your father, it's true.
So did just about everyone, as I'm often told. You'll have to tell me what he was like someday.
To soften your heart, I saw you on his knee more than once. He says soften your heart, but his face is completely cold and impassive.
Well, I always wanted to find a place for you with the nail business, told Robert, but certain decisions were made and it didn't work out. But we've got an interesting couple of years ahead of us, and I just want you to know that you'll always have a friend in old Willem. Or young Willem. In these parts, I'm young.
On your way out, you're Crumb.
Yeah.
You're not as bereft of options as you think you might be.
What you mean?
These lands are rented. They don't belong to Wilkie any more than they belong to you or me. If you think it's being mismanaged, go and appeal to our Lord.
Do you mean Sir Herod Hatar? I'd rather not go visit John St. John if it's all the same. There's been some trouble.
The closest to hand, one would think. There certainly can't be any question that this once thriving farm is now run to ruin.
And it ain't for lack of hard work on the behalf of you and me, that's for sure.
The only thing doing worse than this farm are the marriages around your uncle. I think a new wife might find her that he likes to take a roam around the properties from time to time.
What are you suggesting, tall Robert?
Oh, I'm suggesting he embarrassed and cuckolded Godwin the Miller for years, and
yeah, that was shameful.
Then, just a handful of years later, Larkin, the hunter, that poor man is living off in the woods. He's never been the same.
Oh, Larkin, poor Larkin. Well, yeah, he's a handsome man, our uncle. My uncle. I wonder what that's like.
I will just break in at this point to say that both of you know that the man who comes to kind of take your grain and give you, kind of take it to market in Portchester, his name is Walter. He was due by this time today, and he has not arrived.
You seen Walter? He's supposed to be here about an hour ago. Don't suppose he came by your hovel?
Not yet. Hopefully it doesn't wait too long. I want to see these go to rot.
Yeah.
Wilkie, you are returning from Chichester, and you certainly all live near each other, so you can join the scene if you'd like. You are not married yet. You have just gone and arranged the marriage.
I would like the wedding to happen as soon as possible, though, for no particular reason. How are you? Greetings, nephew. Greetings, tall Robert. How goes it? Have you seen Walter?
We was just talking about him. He hadn't been seen here at all. Hello, Uncle.
Hello, nephew.
Always great to see you.
Always great to see you, too.
I hope your travels have been fruitful.
Oh, very fruitful indeed. Very fruitful indeed.
I haven't got another stool.
Oh, well, that's fine. I'll take yours. Thank you for that. Thank you for offering, Tall Robert.
Tall Robert just sits and looks at you.
On the floor?
No, in the stool.
I'll stand up. You can have my stool, Uncle.
Oh,
Your legs must be tired from all the travel hunting young ladies.
It's true. I did travel far, and we all know Tall Robert is not as young as he used to be, though he is still quite tall.
Thank you.
What are we going to do about this situation with Walter?
Wait.
My business sense tells me we should not wait.
I take a deep breath.
My business sense tells me we should send Tall Robert to take the grain to Portchester himself.
I haven't the charms of yourself or Crumb here, honestly. If we think our crops aren't going to make it themselves to market.
People tell me I'm quite charming. I'd be happy to. How about we all take it?
Got a wedding to plan. Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't share the good news. I'm taking a bride. As you all supported me in that decision. She's
Congratulations.
Thank you. All right.
Is she rich?
No, not as such. No. She's quite lovely, and of childbearing age, which is information that is neither here nor there.
Well, if she does bear you a child, let me know. I've got some parental tips.
Oh, yes.
Your life will change forever. It's a beautiful thing.
This grain does need to be taken to market, and I'm going to go ahead and rule that hours pass and Walter never shows up.
All right. I think Wilkie will agree that we should all go. Mostly because he doesn't trust the two of them anymore.
Right.
Very good.
I imagine we don't own a cart or anything like that. Do we? Do we have something to carry this grain in if we want to take it to market ourselves?
Let's let rolls decide something like that. So, owning a cart, yeah, it'd be quite expensive, and there are people that make a living just having carts, but perhaps you have some way of taking it in or a portion of it. So let's just have a farming roll or a merchant roll merchant actually would be excellent because a merchant would know how to get his wares to market.
I've got a 12 in merchant.
Yeah, if you roll that,
all right.
Yeah.
Find us a cart, young Crumb.
I got a 10.
Very good.
I guess we could argue that maybe we had a cart back in the nail business and that was like one of the last things we kept or something, or
sure.
I don't know.
Very good, and it is Crumb that remembers that, and you drag that old thing out, and you do some repairs, and soon you are traveling down the muddy dirt road toward Portsmouth, and now I want a perception roll from everybody.
I failed.
I got it. 8 under 9.
Wilkie, you're the one that sees the column of black smoke rising above the trees from the direction of Portsmouth. And that is where we will pause while we take a break for ads. Yes, stuff that you must buy. Go, listen to the commercials, and when you come back, we'll find out what that column of black smoke portends. We're playing GURPS here in the Game Garage on the Glass Cannon Network. Welcome back to the Game Garage. We're in my garage, or at least I am, and we are playing GURPS, and we are playing through the events that pertain to one family in the 14th century. And just now, these two brothers, I'm sorry, they're no longer brothers. Wilkie, his nephew, Crumb, and their hired hand, Tall Robert. Boy, this group has changed so much in the intervening 20 years. These three are taking their grain to market, but Wilkie, you have just spotted a dark column of smoke rising from the sky in the direction of the city of Portsmouth, where you were headed in to sell your grain. So I will ask you, what do you do?
That looks foreboding. I have an idea. It's my keen business sense. Is that if there's trouble, we shouldn't bring the grain into the city. Agreed? Got to protect the
Shockingly
grain.
astute, actually.
We're halfway to town. Do you want us just to abandon it in the woods?
No. I got another idea. Let's send Tall Robert to check it out.
All right, I like that idea. Yeah.
Thanks, Tall Robert.
Really appreciate the effort on behalf of the family, Tall Robert.
The family appreciates it very much.
Everything in me wants to say no, but I think just time and culture-wise, Tall Robert's still kind of his hired hand. So Tall Robert stares at you for way too long, and then pulls the ox cart around and starts heading back.
So Tall Robert is not obeying the request to go and check out what's happening. He's just turning the cart around.
Oh, I might have misunderstood. I thought I was being asked to take the stuff back, but I will go check out the town if that's the...
Yeah.
Sure.
We're gonna stay here with the grain and
We'll
get off
guard
the
it
road.
and keep it safe while you go explore and report back.
All right.
Thanks again, Tall Robert.
Thanks, Tall Robert.
We could not do that. The family is in your debt.
Not that much in your debt, but metaphorically speaking.
Metaphorically speaking.
This family carries a lot of debt, I do recall.
I love the medieval peasants that are aware of metaphor.
I know, I was just thinking about that.
Yeah. So, Tall Robert, you're going to go on foot ahead and scout out what's happening?
I am, yeah.
Okay, very good. Anything you'd like to tell me about your approach? Are you walking right
Yeah.
down the road?
I think I'm actually going to not take the road. I'm going to move to not through the forest, but hill and dale, tree line perhaps. Just a place where if something wicked this way comes, it's not going to run straight past me on the road.
Okay. As you travel south toward Portsmouth, the column of smoke becomes more larger and pronounced, and you can see that the city is definitely burning. And now I can tell you that you see people on the road headed away back toward where your farmstead is. They're headed from Portsmouth toward where you came from along the road. And you can't get a really good look at them from Hill and Dale, or maybe you can. Give me a perception roll, actually.
9 on 10.
Okay, so...
No, I'm sorry, 8 on 10.
Very good. Some of these are women and children who wouldn't normally be traveling the roads necessarily at this time of day.
Are they carrying their belongings?
Some of them appear to be weighted down with burdens.
I will go meet them on the road.
Very good. And you come to the road and you see that these people, some of them look like their clothes have been covered with smoke, like there's like blackness around them. And there are many women and children and some men. And they are all moving with great speed as they can manage away from the town.
I will ask them one of the 10 greetings you read. I will say, greetings, Dame Judy
God
Dench.
keep you, good sir.
God keep you, good sir. What befalls Portsmouth?
The French are here. They're burning the city.
Oh no.
They're coming this way.
Well, it pains me to tell you, this way's no safer. Plague in the farms to the north.
Are you making this up?
I am.
Okay.
I don't want to send a bunch of hungry mouths over to our limited grain.
Hungry mouths are one thing, but probably this emergency is of the more immediate sort. There's a lot of refugees headed their way, and they tell you that they're actually headed toward Domus Dei. Domus Dei is the local hospital. It's also a church.
All right. I don't know if I need any more information than this. I'm going to actually go back.
Okay, great. You're able to quickly cover the intervening miles back to where Wilkie and Willem are waiting with the cart.
So I was a classics major, Jared. I don't know much about the calamitous 14th century. How long had it been since the French had attacked the coasts? How common is this?
Well, this would be the first time that the French burn Portsmouth. You've seen some internecine squabbles between people here in England that occurred in Portsmouth in the intervening 20 years. But you would know. Actually, how much do you know? Roll your IQ.
Not bad. 6 on 10.
So you know that the king has claimed part of France. King Edward has claimed part of France and has been trying to get his finances in order to build an army to go and take his claims in France. Unfortunately, he is having a tough time economically here in England. You would know all of this, and
Sure.
I just want people to know that really the medieval peasant would be more well-informed than perhaps you think, especially if they succeeded in an IQ roll. So you know that the king is trying to raise an army to go take his possessions in France, but he has yet to get his finances in order, and it looks like the French have decided to go ahead and make that even harder by attacking the very prosperous economic hub of Portsmouth.
Is this a situation where our Lord would be asked to, like, drum up soldiers to send if the king got his finances in order?
Well, this is before the age of police, or the armies were levied when it was time to go do something. But there would be a militia. There would be a militia that kind of, the town guard, right? That would be there to fight back. You haven't seen any sign of them so far, though.
All right. I will go inform Wilkie and Willem.
Oh, crap.
The French, you say?
French. I hear the French some of them have 3 arms. What makes them French?
Oh, my wife comes from a long line of French people. They all got 2 arms. That's not true.
Oh, I heard it from Short Robert. God rest his soul.
Short Robert was long with the tall tales. I've never seen a 3-armed Frenchman.
Have you ever seen a Frenchman at all?
We've seen Miss Anne of Brittany, the crier.
Yes, Miss Anne of Brittany, the town crier that leans to the left. We've seen her our whole lives. I hope she's okay. Did you hear anything about the town criers, Tall Robert?
I have not, but maybe we ought to think a little less about the news and more about less about the newscasting and more about the news on our doorstep, which is to say.
It's very wise for you to say this, Tall Robert.
I'm looking at my
sense.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
You go.
No, please.
No, you go. No, please.
Well,
Let's start with Wilkie. Go ahead.
Wilkie was just going to say his business sense is tingling. I recently made a connection in Chichester. Perhaps we can sell our grain there while you two defend the homestead. Great. We all approve this plan?
I don't see how this aids the folks who stay behind.
We sell the grain in Chichester, but we protect the farm. Who's we in this, Uncle?
As I'm the only one with connections in Chichester, I would be the one to go to Chichester.
And Tall Robert and Crumb defend the family farm.
Well, Tall Robert is our employee, and you are part of the family, Crumb. I think it's high time you do your fair share.
Employees is paid. I pay you.
He's our contractor.
I agree about Tall Robert. Yeah, he should defend the farm for sure.
But hey, I'm looking at my character sheet, and I noticed that Willem, probably by way of his wife's family, speaks French, albeit accented French.
So he says, parlez-vous le français?
Are you speaking in tongues?
No, that was my father. I was speaking in French. Do you not comprendez-vous le français, mon frères?
Wilkie looks over at Tall Robert and is like, you getting this?
Well, I better stay around so that someone can communicate with these Frenchies if they attack. Otherwise, it would be like a bunch of Germans coming to attack us. No one would understand anything.
So you all stand comically arguing in the middle of the road for a little while, and you do realize that Willem astoundingly can speak French, because role-playing games don't always conform to what would have been usual for history. These characters are exceptional in certain ways. You must tell me what you're going to do, and I want to be clear about the stakes here. If the French are burning things, they may come and burn your homestead, or they may come and kill you. That is why all those refugees were heading to the hospital. So just to give you, just to be a friendly neighborhood game master and give you some thoughts, you might say, oh, we're going to go and defend our home. You might say, oh, we're going to gather with the other refugees in the hospital, which, has walls and is defendable and perhaps would be safe. Or you might say a third or a fourth or a fifth thing, and please do say those things if you have other ideas. But I'm just sort of kind of giving you what would immediately occur to you.
Wilkie would like to walk the 5 hours to Chichester.
I think we should stick together, Uncle.
What about our grain? If we don't sell it, that's a whole season ruined, lost.
The market's on fire.
There are the markets.
Well, that's true. But if you're gonna go to Chichester, then we should all go to Chichester.
Just abandon the homestead.
Well, the homestead... Well, they can't stop the church from getting burned. The homestead... I mean, it ain't that profitable. It's not even ours. It's the Lord's.
It does occur to me that...
That's what Toll Robert was saying, that we don't even own it. Is that true, Uncle?
We'll talk about that later.
Oh, shit, yeah, we gotta make a decision.
No, that's okay. I was just going to say, you don't really own your lands. You still kind of rent them from Sir Harold Hayter.
Yeah.
Let's
the
all go
burning of the markets
Chichester,
mean
then.
that our grain is worth much more than it would be. Perhaps we squirrel it away.
Perhaps the family fortunes is turning once again.
It's my
We need to
business
make
sense.
certain that these hungry refugees don't gobble it all up.
If they do that, they pay us for it. Uncle, tell us what to do.
To Chichester.
All right, to Chichester. Let's abandon everything we know for a bucket of grain.
Very good. Well, I mean...
We should warn them, though, because the French could come to Chichester next.
We should definitely warn them after we sell the grain.
All right, so it's going to be difficult to take the grain, over hill and dale like our friend Tall Robert just traveled. So you'll need to use the roads, right? And let me just see if people have any sort of approach to how they're going to do this. Are you trying to wait to cover of night, because it will be night soon? Are you, which it's dangerous to travel the roads at night in any instance, but it might be safer now that there is an enemy army about. Just let me know sort of your general approach at traveling to this nearby city.
Well, I've got area knowledge Portsmouth as a skill, so I was thinking that might allow me to chart a path that was a little bit less well-traveled, but nonetheless safe for the wagon.
Okay, that makes sense. Why don't we go ahead and do that, and then I would like to have people answer the question of nightfall, whether you want to travel at night or not.
Strikes me as a terrible idea. On the roads. However, what about by stream? Could we go and steal a boat?
How did area knowledge go?
Failed it by 3.
Ah, okay, very good.
I have it as well. Can I roll?
Yeah, you may also roll.
I think we should take the old bridge road.
I failed so badly, it's not even funny.
Very good. So I will go ahead and rule what that means in a minute. But first I need to know exactly your approach. So are you going to go along with this stealing a boat idea that Tall Robert has proposed? Or are you just trying to take the cart via the roads known to you, and that is where your area knowledge comes into play? And no matter what, your area knowledge rolls that you just made are going to come into play,
Terrible.
just so you know. But I want to know exactly how you're traveling before I set scenes.
I mean, the roads would be dangerous. I agree. And if we don't travel by night, I feel like we're going to be overrun by either refugees or the French army. So, kind of got to go by night. So maybe the boat is the best idea.
There's probably not a big punishment for stealing in 1338.
It'll be blamed on the French.
I mean, it is a chaotic situation.
When we steal it, nephew, you just say some things in French. And they'll think it's the French.
All right, so
Okay.
you guys go to bodies of water that you're familiar with. I mean, a lot of the boats are docked down in Portsmouth. That's what, that was a huge fishing hub, a huge center of commerce where people would move back and forth with boats. But there would be some streams and rivers up this way. However, your area knowledge failure means that I'm going to say that it is almost dawn when you finally arrive along a riverbank and you see some boats docked. And you're looking down an embankment from the road down to where some boats are sort of docked by the water, and you are also looking at a large grouping of French or maybe some other nationality soldiers who are watering horses and kind of camping beside the river.
New plan.
Speak French to them, nephew.
They
Tell
look
them-
very well armed.
Tell them you're a French citizen and you're traveling and you want safe passage.
All right. If you say so, Uncle.
I think that's a clever ruse.
All right.
I
if
don't
they ask who we
clever
are,
at all.
you just say we're your English prisoners.
Okay, I'll do that.
I'm going to approach.
They have not noticed you.
Can I offer a third plan?
Please do.
Or a second?
Yes, tall Robert, yes, go on.
We give up this foolishness, we take what we have, and we hide in Bertram's cave until all of this blows over.
I said I'd never go back there.
That is an excellent idea. Do we think we could keep the grain preserved until all this foolishness does blow over?
Well, it'll be out of the elements.
Let's do it. I like this plan. And we can always offer them mushrooms if they come too close.
There may be some of my father's acolytes still about in the cave.
You guys are planning to end this session exactly the way that you solved the last session, with psychedelic mushrooms.
Yes.
Hey, if something works, don't fix it, right? So
guess.
you are now hightailing it away from this river.
Yeah, I don't think it's a good idea to talk to these Frenchmen. They might be able to detect from my accent.
Well, you're very lucky. They don't see you, this grouping of soldiers. And so I will now ask for another area knowledge to quickly and with efficiency get back to the cave of Bertram.
I'll
Failed
take
by
this one.
4.
I rolled a 17.
Okay, so it's another fail from everybody. And
No,
so
I actually chose to roll on this one. So 9 on 11.
a 9 on 11, really, Tall Robert leads the way.
I'm looking at the wrong character sheet. A 9 on a 9.
A 9 on a 9. All right, Tall Robert, nicely done. So Tall Robert, you all arrive at Bertram's cave with no detours, and you are now looking at the cave. and there are a few followers about. Let's see how many there are. There are 6 different pilgrims here, and some of them seem to be newly refugeed from the depredations of the French, and they are praying to the cave to give them salvation from the horrid French. Excuse me. And so you must tell me how you're going to get this grain. You're going to get the grain all into the cave as you're trying to save your harvest?
Speak to them, Crumb. Fulfill your destiny as a religious leader, just like your father was. And get them to help us.
Walk up the shrine of a man who starved to death during these times feels like a bad idea. Maybe someone should tell them that.
I'm sorry, what's that, Tall Robert?
Praying at the shrine of a man who starved to death not a handful of years ago feels like a inauspicious omen for people in trouble. Let them know that, and they should find somewhere else to go.
He wouldn't have starved to death if he wasn't in that dungeon.
The suffering is piety. It brings him closer to God. It is nothing to be afraid. And I just walk away from these guys and I say, Followers of Bertram of the Cave, it is Willem Crum, the son of Bertram. I and Bertram's brother and Tall Robert wish to take sanctuary in the cave. Will you, in the spirit of my beloved and sacrosanct father, help us load this grain into the cave? It's what my father would have wanted.
You get +2 reaction for being the son of their holy leader.
Okay. I also have charisma +1 on all reaction and influence rolls.
Oh, really? Okay,
Yeah.
so you get +3, actually. Let me just find the reaction table. Well, let me roll and then...
Okay.
Higher is better, isn't it, Clinton Trucks, with
Yep.
reactions?
Correct.
You get +3. That means that you have rolled altogether a 17 reaction from these folk. And they are acting like you are as sacrosanct as their former leader, the martyred Bertram. And so they are more than willing to help you load this grain into the cave. And would you all like to do so?
Oh, yeah.
This is such an interesting strategy and not where I thought the game would go today. You're trying to... No, it's interesting. You're trying to save profits, whereas... many people would be ruined by the depredations of the French burning their farms. You have taken a good portion of your harvest. It's not the entire harvest, I have to tell you. You can't fit that on a cart or two. But a good portion of your harvest, and you are now squirreling it away. You may go ahead and roll farming to see if this is done in a way that will preserve your crop for several days or weeks.
Do
Who
all
would
of us
like to
roll, or
roll
can
that?
we do one roll and help?
Why? Let's do
Wilkie
one.
will, as head of the family. I will roll.
Reasonable.
Oh, okay. Taking charge. Well, because you have the very capable Willem and Tall Robert helping you, go ahead and take a +3. Actually, you have all those peasants helping you as well, the religious peasants. Go ahead and take a +4 to the roll.
Okay. So I'm looking for a 12.
Okay.
And I roll a 12.
Very good. You believe that the grain has all been stored carefully. It's dry. It will keep for a number of... Let's see how long it'll keep. This is how many days it will keep. The grain will keep for 11 days, you think, at least.
Wow.
We're fine.
This was a great idea, Uncle. I really appreciate that you came up with it.
Thank you. Thank you, Willem.
It's that family business sense again is so important. Such a great idea.
Yes.
Looking down the side of the hills from the cave over the trees, you can now see columns of smoke rising from the area in which you live. So, not just the city of Portsmouth now, but the countryside outside of it is burning.
Crumb, question.
Yeah.
Are you all concerned about your wife and children?
I wasn't until now.
Well, thank you so much, Matthew Capodicasa and Wilkie, for bringing that up. Because as dependents, and they are dependents, you must either go and do something about the danger that they're in, or you're going to take a different type of hit, possibly to your mental stability.
What do you think about it?
So, oh yeah, please.
Tall Robert realizes that with the people here, we can't stop them from eating the grain. But Tall
Well,
Robert
actually,
thinks-
the grain is not. Grain still needs to be processed. These six peasants that are here as part of a religious pilgrimage aren't going to just get into the cave and start chomping away at wheat. So
we can crush it and boil it, so we're not starving at this point. Right?
yes, you can. Yeah, you could. You need to use something like cooking to do that.
Sure. I just want to make certain that I was picturing fighting off a bunch of hungry acolytes who are in this cave wishing that they had something to eat and looking at all this grain. I think if people want to eat, we should let them eat, but I don't think anybody should leave. We can't leave anybody back here till the French are gone.
I would totally understand if Wilkie felt he had to go fight the French to save his family. I'm sure he would survive.
Wilkie or Willem?
Willem.
Willem. I'm Wilkie. You're Willem.
Wilkie seems to care nothing about his
So,
family.
I have no family.
What about your young wife?
She's in Chichester.
she's fine.
Fine.
Next
Here
time
we
the fire.
are, stuck in a cave. The cave of my religious father. And so I'm of the mindset of some of the stories Bertram told me as a youth. Here we are in a cave. Off over the horizon, there's the smoke rising from a destroyed city, and it puts young Crumb in the mindset of a biblical story about a man named Lot, who also was fleeing a burning city and was left to live in a cave. And from there, poor Lot had to repopulate his population. So as he's thinking about this, Crumb is starting to look around at all the different pilgrims. Are there any women pilgrims among them?
Jesus Christ.
Oh my God.
It's all about Jesus Christ, you guys. Come on.
Actually, no, they're all men.
Well, if God had meant me to live the life of Lot, he would have left at least one woman in this cave. But now I've got to go save Marguerite and my children Gwyn, Theodric, and Beatrix. I'm sorry, Uncle. I cannot stay in this cave. Staying here brought ruin to my father, and while it might be good for the grain, it ain't good for the family. I must depart and try to save them, even if I must fight the entire French army on my own with this small hand shovel, which is my only weapon. I'm off!
Nephew. Oh,
What?
bye-bye now.
Oh, no, did you have anything you wanted to say to me, Uncle, before I venture alone into the darkness?
Well, good luck, first. Good luck. And second,
God will
would you
provide.
mind telling the pilgrims that I am also, like, religious like your father, so they will follow
Of
me
course.
if you don't come back?
Yes, of course. Tall Robber, I don't suppose you've got a wife you need to go back to the farm to protect, or perhaps an animal, or
I've
a religious
not,
icon,
but,
or something that you need.
I know you were just a young one when your father told his stories, but I feel like I should point out Lot did indeed have progeny, but they were with his own daughters. So
Yes.
maybe not the best role model.
It's a weird story. I mean, everything in the Bible's in there for a reason, right? That's what Bertram used to say.
like
It's a
object
literal
lesson, I guess.
document that must be taken
Are you
completely
questioning the
literally.
word of God? At this time of all times, Tall Robert? Now is a time for faith, not for questioning.
I just go, all right, good luck.
Let me know if you need me to pick anything up at the farm for you.
Wait,
It's
so
the first
am I
time
to
Tall Robert's,
understand?
like, expression breaks.
Am I to understand? And this is completely fine. No judgments. that Wilkie and Tall Robert are staying at the cave and allowing our friend Willem to go back on his own?
For sure.
It's kind of what it sounds
Oh, I
like.
prefer to think of it as we each have our own callings in life and responsibilities, and I have a young fiancée in Chichester that I must live for and provide for. So it's my duty to stay here.
Speaking of providing, some time has passed at the cave, and so I would like to know how people are eating. And it seems like we already solved that we're going to use cooking to boil down the wheat and feed these pilgrims. Can I go ahead and have a cooking roll from Wilkie to see how that's going?
Yes, you may. Well, I'll put it this way. I could have rolled worse. I rolled...
This sounds like a 17.
Can I use luck? Do I have luck?
You do not have luck.
Very unlucky. So, yeah, no, I failed very badly. I rolled a 15 over an 8.
Okay, so for whatever reason, the process of turning this grain into kind of a very simple bread or gruel has eluded you, Wilkie. And if you try additional attempts, it could get harder. But for now, the pilgrims and Tall Robert and Wilkie have not eaten in a little while. But let's leave them starving momentarily while we follow our friend Crumb, who comes down off of the side of the hill, down through the forest, and back into this area proper to try to save his wife and family. Where are you going to look for them?
Well, the first thing I would do is just go to the farm and see if they're in the home.
You arrive at your farm, and before you get very closely, you see that there is that the lands of Sir Harold Hayter are burning. Your farm is burning. Sir Harold Hayter's manor house is burning, and let's see if the French spot you. And the French have not spotted you, so you are on foot, and they have not yet noticed you. They are busy looting. In fact, from your vantage point in the tree line, you can now see them pulling out of the burning manor of Sir Harold Hayter wine out of the cellar, and they are all laughing and going ahead and popping it open right there in front of the burning building and guzzling it down.
Willem takes a moment to kind of put his right leg up on the stump of a tree and look wistfully at the burning Lord's Manor as the music swells, and he looks up at the double sun. No, it's wrong game. Wilkie, not Wilkie, Willem. Music swells. Okay, so where is the family land relative to the manor house? Is it nearby?
It is nearby. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I'm gonna... It seems as though the French are distracted by one of their favorite sins, which is wine. So I am gonna just leave them to that and try to kind of circle a little bit around so as not to draw attention to myself as I make my way closer to the family homestead.
Okay, so at least this little group is. I'm not going to say that the French you've seen guzzling the wine are all of the French.
Sure.
Okay?
Understood.
But it sounds like you're trying to be stealthy. Is that correct? Okay.
Yeah, and I guess I could use area knowledge to know where there's a good boulders to hide behind as I make my way toward the farm.
You know what? Use your area knowledge. If you succeed, I'm going to ameliorate the penalty that you get when you roll stealth untrained.
Okay. I got a 10 and I needed an 11. So I beat it by 1.
Very well done. So instead of a Dex -5 or IQ -5 for stealth, I'm going to make it minus. I'm gonna make. You really know this area well. This is your area, so I'm gonna make it a Dex -2 or an IQ -2 roll.
Okay. I have a 1 higher in IQ, so I'm gonna pick that. That would mean I need to roll under a 9.
Okay, that's pretty good. A 50-50.
Okay.
I moved these boulders when I was a boy, and now I'm hiding behind them.
8.
Very well done. You arrive at your particular plot and your family's plot, and you notice that your houses in particular haven't been burned yet. Your fields in particular haven't been burned yet, but the fields on either side of you are burning. So you may have just by chance been passed over, or they might be getting to your land soon. But I can tell you that. Well, tell me what you're going to do. You see the
first
cottage. Yeah, go ahead.
I attribute that to the grace of Almighty God that our fields were spared. There's no chance involved here. And I'm going to make my way to the cottage. Beeline. I'm really worried about Marguerite, Gwyn, Theodric, and Beatrix.
You bash your way into the cottage, and there is nobody there. But you can see that it looks like some things were hastily packed.
Madge! Are you here, Madge? Hello! It's your beloved! Willem! Theodric! Shit. I think I might know where they went to hide. I remember when I was a small child, there was a great rain, weeks of rain, and my father built like a lean-to structure to try to protect the fields. It didn't really work, but they never removed the debris of it, and I think that's like an emergency shelter. So I'm gonna go run over there and see if my family is taking refuge.
You go over there, and your family has not taken refuge in that structure, but it's still standing and it's begging to be burnt down. The question of your family's location might be answered by an area knowledge roll.
Yeah, perhaps we had like an emergency plan, like in case the French come, hide in the barn.
Yeah.
Also, not to pile on, but could we retcon and say that maybe Wilkie asked you to check in on Matilda also?
While you're there, hey, I have a couple of things I need you to pick up.
You
Can you make a couple more difficult stealth rolls?
No. Fair enough. You asked, and we'll see what happens. But he is making zero effort right now to find his uncle's
True love?
I was going to use a shorter word than that, but I won't. So he is unconcerned about your sinful.
True love?
Your true love, yeah. Yeah. How could you say that when you're already working on another one in Chilchester? It's inappropriate.
The heart is a complicated thing.
Okay.
Anyway, it's true love. No one is questioning that. But how did your area knowledge roll go?
I got a 9 out of 11.
You know that they would go to Domus Dei. They would go to the Royal Garrison Church, where all of the refugees are headed, because it is a defendable structure that has been kind of set up for this kind of thing.
So that's back to square one.
Well, it's back down the road a little bit more toward Portsmouth.
Right. But I'm not sure I want to go there alone, since we already as a group kind of decided not to go there. So my gut tells me I should go back to the cave, and then we could all go to the church. I don't know if that's makes sense.
It's a church. It's a hospital. Yeah, it makes sense. Who knows if these guys will agree to go with you?
Well, I know one way I might be able to get my uncle to come along. I'm gonna start looking for Matilda.
Oh, very good. Well, Matilda should be in the area, right? She should be right near the Sir Harold Hayter's lands. And
maybe Larkin the Hunter will be killed by the French, and then that will throw everything into.
Oh my God!
Maybe don't bother to look for Matilda. Just say she went to Domus Dei, and you're done.
Why don't you go ahead and give me another stealth roll at -2? You said IQ -2.
Yep. So I need a 9.
Yeah, to move surreptitiously through the area. Okay.
13.
So as you try to fulfill your uncle's request and check in on Matilda, you can see the hunter's cabin ahead of you, and you can see that it is burning, and then you see the pikemen turn around with torches in their hands, and they spot you. And they go, "Hold! Hold!" And they're pointing at you.
And
saying,
I will
do not move.
I will hold, and I will say, "Bonjour, mon frère. Je suis un citoyen de France.
There are
Come toi."
there are only 2 of them. I just rolled to see. There are only 2
Thank
of
God.
them. They are carrying spears. These are foot soldiers. They have big padded jackets and little skull cap type helmets. But they look rough. They don't look like they freshly joined the army. They look almost half like pirates. Their beards are long and scraggly. They look like they've been eating poorly, and they look pretty haggard as they march up toward you, and they start yelling at you in French. But in fact, you speak French, right?
Mais oui.
So they tell you to get down on the ground on your knees. Get on your knees, peasant. Get on your knees, rustic.
Bien sûr, mes amis.
And I will get down.
Great. One of them digs through a bag on his side, and you see him pull out a pair of rusty manacles. And then you hear one of them say, "This one is strong. He will fetch a good price as a slave."
How's 1300s Europe treating you?
I say in French, I'm a free man.
Not anymore, Englishman.
Je suis français.
They are going to put the manacles onto Willem.
God damn it. I can't allow that to happen, I don't think. So
Oh, you gonna let Matilda languish out there?
I know,
His first concern.
I'm gonna, oh my god. I'm going to, what's the hunter's name again?
Larkin.
Larkin.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go like. First of all, I'm gonna try and resist, and I'm gonna try and fight him, and I'm just gonna yell out, "Larkin, help me, Larkin!"
All right, their basic speed is a bit higher than yours.
God.
Well, what's your basic speed? Tell me so I make sure
5.
that's true. Your basic speed is 5. Yeah, theirs is
Yeah.
a little higher than yours. So they are going to, unfortunately, get to go first.
Yeah.
When you start resisting, one is going to try to slap the manacles on you. The other is
Okay.
going to try to hit you with his spear.
All right.
Okay. How much HP do you have? It should be
10.
equal to your 10. Okay. So here they're going to go ahead and take their actions, and then you can take your action. All right. So
Can he
and you're
force
yelling
a grapple
for
before he gets manacled?
what's that?
Can he force them to like grapple him before he gets manacled? So it's not one roll to just be in chains.
Okay. So they need to grapple you first. Okay. I'll allow it. I'll allow it.
Bon chance, mon amis.
Yeah. That's that's good rules lawyering there, Mr. Clinton Trucks.
And you
Or
thought I
it's
had
not
to be
even-
in the scene.
It's not even rules lawyering, really. It's just rules usage. So let me see what their brawling would be. Okay. Yes. Okay. Very good. So this one that's going to try to put the manacles on you has to grapple you. Let's see how he does.
Just for the audience, grappling uses the wrestling skill. Let's not worry about it today.
I'm using the wrestling skill.
Great.
I'm using the wrestling skill. Don't worry, I'm using it. Let me just look it up to show you how much I'm using it.
I didn't mean to
it's,
get in a fight, you guys.
No, it has.
I'm sorry you're alone.
Yeah, me too. Why am I alone again? I forget.
Roll against the higher of dex or wrestling to hit with a grapple. And guess what? They've hit with a grapple by rolling a 10. So this guy has your arms. The other guy is annoyed that you're resisting, and he's going to try to spear you, while the other one goes, "No, you're ruining him. We can't sell him if you poke him through." And this guy's going to roll on his spear skill. And he succeeds at his spear skill with an excellent roll of only 5. So
many
you are about to take
orphans.
damage. You take only 2 damage. So he's trying not to ruin you for the slave markets. And just kind of scratches you. Then it is not your turn.
Oh, good.
You know whose turn it is?
Larkin.
Larkin. He
Arrows.
comes out of the burning, yes, he comes out of the burning building and fires his arrows. And his first is a hit.
Yes.
He hits. And he does only 1 damage to one of the French soldiers, and now it is your turn.
All right. So I'm grappled.
You are grappled. You have to break the grapple.
Let's start with that. That seems like the most important thing to do.
Okay, I'm gonna say that breaking a grapple is a strength roll versus the strength of this particular Frenchman.
Okay.
Okay, here we go.
I hit it exactly at 10.
He hit his exactly. Oh my god. Okay, both hit theirs exactly. So
Ties go to the defender.
ties go to the defender, so you are still grappled. And now, new round. The guy that has you grappled is going to try to put manacles on you.
No!
Again, using the wrestling skill, which we said defaults to, what was it again?
Dex.
Dexterity,
Dex.
I think.
Yeah, the higher of Dex or wrestling. Okay, here we go. And this time, he fails. So he's got you grappled, but he's having trouble putting the manacles on you. And the other guy uses his spear skill. I'm going to say since you're so well grappled, I'm going to give him a plus to this attack.
I'm not used to you with holes in me. Listen to your friend.
But it's not high enough. You're wiggling too much, and he can't deal with you. And another arrow is going to come flying, and they're going to have to deal with that in a second. Here comes the other arrow. And that is a success. That is a success on the... So, let's see how much damage he does that time. That time, he rolls a 5 in damage. And I'm going to rule that Larkin has cut down one of the Frenchmen in a significant enough way that a arrow is sticking out of his padded jerkin. And I'm going to rule that it was the one that was trying to stab you. So you're still dealing with the one that's trying to grapple you. What do you do? Willem, what do you do?
Does it, so is the other one dead? Like, is he...
No, but he has an
Out of the
arrow
fight.
sticking out of the front of him, and he's not really interested in fighting with you anymore.
Okay, I'm going to ignore him, and then I'm going to just, again, try to yank myself free from the grapple.
Okay, great. Give me that strength roll.
Missed it by 4.
And so, unfortunately, ties go to the defender. He still has you. New round, and he's going to try to put the manacles... no, actually, is he more worried about the guy with the arrows? He's probably more worried about the guy with the arrows now. So he's going to push you to the ground and go charging. Well, he's got to pull his pole arm. Yeah, he pushes you to the ground and pulls his pole arm, and then Larkin fires at him.
Okay.
Larkin misses. No, Larkin hits. Larkin just matches his skill in archery and does 4 damage to this guy. Larkin has taken down both of them for you.
What a
They
great
both have
husband.
arrows coming out of them. In other words, there's an opportunity right now to run if you'd like, Willem.
No,
Or you
I'm
can-
gonna...
Or you're going to finish them off.
Oh, yeah, there's one guy on the ground, right? Or,
There's 2. Both of them have arrows sticking out of them right now, and they're not really interested in continuing to manacle you. So what would you
Well,
like to do?
The manacles, presumably, did the guy drop the manacles? by
Yes,
any
he
chance?
did.
I'm gonna scoop those up, and I'm gonna try and manacle him.
Okay, give me a...
Turnabout is fair play, my friend.
You don't have any brawl, right?
Hell no. I have fishing.
Okay. I'm gonna just say, give me a strength -2, and if you were able to do that, you're able to get the manacles on him because he's really struggling with the arrow sticking out of him.
Okay. I missed it by 1.
Okay, so you're on the ground wrestling with him, and Larkin's like, "You fool, run!" And Larkin starts running, and you see him grab Matilda, who was kind of hiding behind a shrub nearby, and they begin running away from the burning house.
All right, well then I'm gonna run and try and follow them and eventually convince them to take shelter in the cave and accompany me back there.
So you guys are going to go back to the cave, is that correct?
Yeah.
All right. So no more stealth rolls needed. You arrive back at the cave with Matilda and Larkin. Let's see. Actually, I think that 1 cooking roll was enough. Everybody is really hungry and not feeling very well. And how have you done in finding water? We should find out.
Surely the pilgrims have a source of water.
You know what? It's early enough we can say that people brought along some water sources that haven't run out yet. That's a fair point.
And maybe now Larkin can supplement our food stores with his hunting skills.
And mushrooms.
Hey, a very good point.
Look forward to you.
Well, they've brought 2 more mouths to feed, or rather, Crumb has brought 2 more mouths to feed, but they arrive and they go, Larkin says, Wilkie?
Larkin?
I wasn't aware you were hiding up here.
Well, Larkin, some things may have happened in the past, but it's the first time in our lifetime we've been invaded by the French, so I say, let's put a pause on our discord until we get out of, the war. Work together. Save our lives.
The others are hiding at the hospital. There's likely food and water there. Perhaps we should go there.
My wife is there, and children. They're alive!
We have hallucinogenic mushrooms.
Stop making up words.
What are you talking about, Wilkie?
We have magical mushrooms.
So,
All right,
Larkin,
we can go to the hospital.
Larkin, well, you don't have to. You could say, Wilkie's like, I'm sticking here. You have saved your crop, which I did not expect, which is a huge boon to you. Would you like to help them go and retrieve the family from the hospital, or are you going to go just shelter there in the hospital with them?
Wilkie will stay behind, and he'll suggest that Matilda stay behind until we know the road is safe as well.
Larkin says, very good. He'll go and check out the hospital with whoever's going. And Matilda, you should stay here. And she gives you a meaningful look. Wilkie.
I'm going to the
a
hospital.
meaningful look back.
Very good. So who all is going to go to the hospital?
Tall Robert, come to
Robert's
the
going to
hospital.
go as well. So let's see if any of the pilgrims decide to go as well. One of them, unarmed, a rustic with no weapons at all. In fact,
But
none of you
deeply
have.
skilled.
None of you have weapons, do you?
No.
Except for Larkin.
Another day and a night passes, and you're kind of running out of food and water as your friends head down the hill back toward inhabited lands. Wilkie, would you like to try to provide for these folks again with the grain?
I would.
Give me that cooking skill again.
Okay. For my love. For true love. Nope.
All right.
Yeah, that's a 15.
I'm going to go ahead and rule that days pass while you wait for your friends to return from the hospital, and everybody is almost kind of starving. Although you can go quite a while without food, but things are not good. Meanwhile, let's follow the party that goes down to the hospital. Cutting to the chase a little bit, I'm going to say that you arrive at Domus Day, and you see that buildings near it have been set fire. The French soldiers aren't anywhere to be seen, but the hospital itself is now smoking, and fire is kind of licking the sides of it, and you hear screams from inside. And Larkin says, "What are we waiting for? Come on, we have to save them."
So heroic.
And he starts
Follow him.
Yeah, he's much more heroic than Wilkie.
Tall Robert, come with.
He's truly a better man. Matilda really went up in the world with Larkin. Larkin is running toward the hospital with his bow.
I will follow along.
Same.
Very good. So you arrive, and the fire. By the time you get there, the fire is in full swing, and it is threatening the chapel where most of the people are sort of kind of hiding. Basically, you have to tell me how you're going to get inside of this burning building.
Is there a stained glass window display or?
There is one. Yes, that's a great idea. There is one stained glass window. It's a little high up, but it is above the flames.
It takes years and years to make. It's basically priceless.
Break it. Just take a rock and just whip it right at that thing, and then we'll try
Great.
and
Give me
scramble
a
into the
Dex
window.
-2 roll to throw a rock at the stained glass window.
This is for never paying attention to me, father.
And I whip it at the stained glass window. I got a 9, which is my dexterity.
You shatter it.
Yes, symbolic.
Yes, the stained glass window of the church is shattered, and you can hear the screams of women and children inside.
Could it have had the Virgin Mary on the picture of the stain? Like, could that be the thing that I put all my effort into destroying?
How did you know historically that was the exact stained glass window that existed on the side of this church? Maybe I'm making that up. But yes, the
now.
Virgin Mary is completely shattered by your stone. And so now you are looking at a building that has fire kind of licking the sides of it, but has an open window that you can get in and out of.
Tall Robert, you're tall. Give us a boost.
I will do that.
Okay, so just to be clear, you've already clambered inside the walls, and now you're up to the chapel that is burning, and you are going to try to give Willem a boost into the building. Give me a strength roll, and I'll just let you know that there's fire all around the building, so you'll have to stand inside the fire for a moment. You'll have to risk the fire for a moment.
No, I won't do that.
Okay,
There's fire right there.
classic Clinton truck gameplay. I refuse to take damage. Okay, so it looks like
I'll give him a boost.
No, Tall Robert, if you are afraid, if you think that it may kill you, maybe you wouldn't do that. Tell me what Tall Robert would do.
I'm actually playing Tall Robert as callous rather than fearful. He simply doesn't care about this the way they do.
Yeah.
That said, of the two people I know in the world, I think I like Crumb slightly more. So I'll give him a boost, briefly. One turn.
Thank you, Tall Robert.
Give me a strength roll at -2.
Rolling for 8, and I rolled a 9.
You are not able to get up into the chapel, and the fire gets even worse. And right now, I'm going to say that you are both briefly in the fire for a second, which means that you take a D6 -3 versus worth of fire damage right now, but it's about to get worse. You take 3 fire damage, Tall Robert, and you take 3 fire damage, Willem.
Ah, Tall The ow!
The people inside are trying to push objects, pews, and things up so that they can clamber out of that open window, but they're having a little trouble, like, quite reaching it. They need someone to reach through. Are you going to try again?
Yes.
Okay, give me another strength roll.
Oh, at -2, I rolled a 7, rolling for 8.
Very good. So now, Willem, you are there. You're inside the window, and you can reach down and start helping people out. But in order to do that, I need a strength roll from you, and it's just going to be a straight strength roll.
All right, let's give it a shot. I missed it by 2.
Willem, you get some of the people out, but then
no.
the fire spreads, It spreads, and you take some more fire damage.
You watch
This
a stupid
time-
book in the middle of the room burst into flames.
This time it's... Oh, wow, you only take 2 more fire damage.
Oh God!
But how
Okay.
much health do you have left? Why don't you go ahead and give me a health roll right now for your normal unaffected health?
All right. I missed it by 1.
We've come to the end of our story today. And here's what I'm going to rule. I'm going to rule that our friend Willem follows the route of his father and martyrs himself, getting some of the refugees out of the hospital. He burns. Let's roll to see if he successfully got his own family out of the hospital.
Oh my god.
This is so
the
brutal.
cruelest role I've ever heard of. Literally ever heard of.
Meanwhile, Wilkie and Matilda, you know,
Smash.
we just eat some mushrooms and see what happens.
I rolled a 2, a 1, and a 3, and I think
Wow.
that's a success. You die, but you get your own family out of the burning church.
Oh, thank God.
And meanwhile, up in the mountains, you have some lean days, unable to eat anything, unable to find anything to drink. And so I think that the very pious, very zealous followers of Bertram are turned to feel that the God's favor no longer falls upon this cave and the men that seem to run it. And so, because some of them almost starved to death up there in the hills while they await for God's forgiveness. And so, as we close on 1338, we find our friend Willem dead, but his family survived. Tall Robert also survived. And Wilkie, you saved the crop. Well, your friends helped you save the crop. So you are still a viable farmer, and you have successfully set yourself up with a matrimonial match. So you could conceivably have kids in our next session.
Maybe also true love.
Why not both?
Why not both? ¿Por qué no los dos?
You really can have it all in the 14th century. And so that is how we will close for today. Thank you to my incredible players, Erik, Mona, Matthew Capodicasa, and Clinton Trucks. Good job saving that crop, guys.
And 3 children.
And my
wife.
children.
Also the crop.
And,
But also the crop.
The crop
My
is
true-
the important thing.
and my true love.
Right, and
We did
and you managed
bring
to
Matilda
rekindle
back.
your extramarital affair. That's really exciting.
God be praised.
God be praised, just before I'm about to get married.
Everybody else is playing a medieval life simulator. Matthew's playing an affair simulator.
And doing really well.
I mean,
Yeah.
given the sheer number of failures I've rolled, I'm doing astoundingly well.
It's true.
That should be a video game like The Affair, where you just have
for
to
sure
handle different situations. Like now she wants you to leave your wife. It's like, press X to leave your wife. Thank you guys. That was amazing.
Oh, thank you. That was great.
Martyred
We'll find
again.
out what else happens to this family when we come back in 1 week's time. Until then, this has been the Game Garage on the Glass Cannon Network. I'm Jared Logan. Good night, Naish.